Hey guys, this is Ron with Stay Sharp again. I got a request from a viewer who wanted to see a sort of a sharpening shootout. And the head that he wanted me to look at is a Zwickey head. And if you've been around bow hunting as long as I have, you certainly have seen Zwickey broadheads. They have been around as long as the archery deer season and license have been around. So I'm going to go into the old school row here, and we're going to look at the Zwickey style heads. Now these are heads that are spot welded, laminated heads, very popular in their day and still very popular by a lot of traditional guys and guys shooting heavy setups. So I'm going to grab a few of these and we're going to look at a couple of different sharpening methods. We're going to be using for this are these three. They're very similar, same construction type, will be similar metal. We'll sharpen each one with a different method and then we'll do a little bit of examination after that. One method that he requested was the simple old mill bastard file. This goes back to the day of Fred Bear and Roy Case sitting around the fire, putting a filed edge on their head and then putting it back in the quiver. There are still those that do that today. His other request was the drag through rata style, where you pull the head through there to create a sharp edge. And then lastly, we're going to use a fixed blade guide, just an angle controlled rolling guide. Won't matter if it's KME or Lansky or Stay Sharp or any type of guide, just using a controlled angle guide so you're not freehanding it. So here we're going to use the file. I'm going to match the factory angle as best as I can. This is always a freehand operation that harkens back to the days of old Fred Bear and Roy Case sitting around the fire, filing the edge. This is not a real aggressive file. When I feel that I've got a burr on this side, I'll flip it over and do the other side. So that's our filing method. Alright, so here's our filed edge. Here's one side, here's the other. Just a simple mill file to produce what will ultimately be a pretty toothy edge, but I kept the same grind. I just put some Sharpie marker on the other side so I knew not to touch that side. I wanted to really focus on just this edge. And then we will look at that under the microscope and then the sharpness tester. Alright, and here is the Rada style drag through sharpener. Very simple to use. I prefer this one to the single wheel. And you keep dragging it through there until you've achieved the burr that you like. So I'll keep going with this, and then we'll also check this under the microscope and on the sharpness tester. So now we've finished up with the drag through style sharpener. I've covered this side with Sharpie marker so I remember to only work on this side, so you can see the edge that we've produced. It too feels rather jagged, but we will look at it through the microscope and the sharpness tester. The last method is a simple angled, controlled rolling guide. It won't matter if it's KME or Stay Sharp or a Lansky or any of the other brands. In this case, it's just roll it back and forth. In this case, I started with 240 grit. This edge was rather rusty. When I get a burr on one side, I'll flip it over, do the other side, and I'll do my regular regimen of 5 grits, 240, 400, 800, 1200, 2500, and then I finish always with buffing compound on cereal box cardboard. So that's the regimen that I would always use, so I'm going to employ that here to put it up against the other edges. So we'll finish this one, we'll come back and test them all. Alright, and here we have the head sharpened with an angle controlled rolling guide. I've sharpened this edge. You can see the black marker on this edge. I haven't touched it. So let's look at all of those edges through the microscope. So now let's look at these edges on the sharpness meter. We're going to start with the filed edge first. Let's look at the filed edge again. Now we're going to look at the head sharpened with the Rada style drag through sharpener. Let's take another swipe at that with the drag through style sharpener in a different part of the blade. Now you've seen how they've fared on the sharpness meter. Let's look at these edges on a simple rubber band. This is the filed edge. This is the drag through style sharpener. This is the angle controlled rolling guide edge. What'd you think? You saw the results of a filed edged, a sharpened edge with a drag through V-style roller, and a edge sharpened on a rolling control guide. First of all, none of these are wrong. If your grandpa showed you how to sharpen with a file or a drag through roller, and that's how you like to do it, and you get great results and you're killing stuff with it, keep doing it. You place that arrow in the right spot, it'll kill every time. So none of these are right, none of these are wrong. It's purely preference. I only hope to show you the results based on the request of a viewer wanting to see sharpness under the microscope and sharpness with a sharpness meter when sharpened through 3 different methods. So I hope you found some value in that. Thanks.